I recently watched K-pop Demon Hunters, and I wanted to give out some of my thoughts of the movie and like kind of a review of it, while the background is just gonna be me drawing Zoe from K-pop Demon Hunters. Just to give a little bit of a preface to the scene I'm creating in my sketchbook right now. Basically, I wanted to showcase Zoe like hard at work with her notebooks in her desks. So this would be what I envisioned her before joining Huntrix. And it would be like her in her American suburb room, just locked up in there, doing what she wants to do in her notebooks. So while I continue to align this scene, I'm going to talk about what I liked about the movie. So, firstly is the amount of references to Korean culture in Korean media. I am not Korean, so of course some of these things are going to fly over my head. But from what I noticed from consuming things like K-pop, it is really funny when they reference, or not necessarily reference, give a nod to the industry, or how 3D animation tries to emulate the medium of K-pop. So things like choreography, camera angles during like live performances, the switch in the main focus and center in those choreographies and the camera movements with those choreographies screams K-pop. And I think they did a really good job at nailing the K-pop aspect of this movie, with very K-pop songs as well. My favorite is Your Idol. Speaking of Your Idol, I would like to say that the Saja Boys would definitely work on me if I was around in the street and I heard soda pop. I would be intrigued, not fully in yet, but I would be intrigued. However, if I was in the stadium listening to Your Idol, I would be completely hypnotized, no questions asked. I would probably be more into them if I knew they were real life demons. So I love their design. I in a very like guilty pleasure way, they are right up my alley. Hot demon boys who wants to take advantage of you. Does that say anything about me? I don't know. Anyway, let's continue. What else do I like? I like that one scene where it parodied K-drama romance theatrics. It was when Jinu bumped shoulders with Rumi, and like Rumi dropped all the juices that was supposed to help her throat. And that whole sequence was really funny to me. How they bumped into each other and the slow-mo started panning out, and just the sequence makes you expect that there is some sort of romance that's going to be happening or involved in this scene. Other than that, the animation is great. I think they nailed the performances, and this makes me appreciate the animation medium even more, because like I always knew that emulating a real life performance through animation works. Like it looks good, and I want it to happen even more. You know, there are virtual like girl and boy bands out right now, but I don't think they're doing it well. Like I think there needs to be an entire animation studio behind them to really bang out really nice performances, just like what KDA did and what Your Idol did. Other than that, voice acting was great. I did like the dynamic between the girls. I think the girls had very nice personalities, all three of them. This is not exactly a critique, but like what I personally would have liked was not just a movie. I always prefer, this is the thing with me, I always prefer shows over movies because they have they have longer build up in which characters stick to their values and stick to the actions that feel like them, and then you can see the switch where they have to face a challenge or they have to change in a certain way to get that character development. And I think it works much better in a format of a show than a movie. But alas, this is a movie, and I feel like things were a bit cramped in the events that happened. I don't mind the romance in it between Jinu and Rumi. I would love an enemies to lovers, and I think that was what they were trying to get at for them, but it was just too fast for me. But it is what it is. That's what we'll get in a movie that's an hour and a half. Also, because of the movie length, there are some things that I felt like should have been explained plot-wise, but it's not really mentioned to explain. So this is the part where I really get into the critique, which is about the movie's writing. Before that, I'm just going to talk about, I'm watercoloring now, Zoe. I went with a piss yellow underpainting to get that sun glow, that golden hour 3 p.m. after school glow. And now I'm just putting in some base colors. So back to the critique. My biggest gripe is the concept of the demons aren't explained very well. You have this setup where the demons are taking souls for their own benefit, and it really feels like, oh, the demons are in the wrong, they are evil. But then you introduce a character, Jinu, which is a demon as well, but used to be human and was formed into a demon via his shame and via his wrongdoings. So then that leaves the question, are all demons used to be human then? Are all demons just subjects of the greater evil that is Gima? If so, the demons aren't in the wrong per se, it is just Gima. So I find the movie's plot point pretty hypocritical, especially because Rumi as a demon, which isn't really explained, is she half or just fully demon, is trying to accept this part of herself that she is demon for the purpose of sealing the Hamun. Of course, character-wise, that wasn't her motivation. She wanted to accept herself for the sake of accepting herself. But the sequence of events for the movie played it out so one thing needed to happen for another to happen, right? So it's crafted in a way that Rumi needed to accept her demon self, and then she can unite with Zoe and Mira to seal the demons away from the human world for good. So I feel like this is very hypocritical, because how can you accept a demon? Okay, how can you accept a demon and also fall in love with another demon and not ask questions about the rest of the demons that you blocked off from the human world? Whatever, it's a kid's movie. You don't need to think that hard about it. But I can and I will. So, yeah, I just would have really liked that explored a little bit more. And it feels like Rumi's demonness is very surface level. I can't say for sure, but in this movie at least, it seems like the most acceptable version of the demon by the humans, right? If Rumi happened to want to devour souls for fun, I don't think Zoe or Mira would accept her that easily. But for Rumi, her demon shows up in the form of the patterns, which is just visual and doesn't really hurt anyone. And at the end of the movie, it shows that her rage or her shame kind of brings destruction to the things around her and to the Hamun, which is a bit problematic, but is acceptable, right? You just need to be accepted. Therefore, none of the demon qualities that do cause harm will ever show. And the patterns, they don't cause harm at all. So it's fine. Wouldn't you say the same thing with all the other demons that you blocked off? If they were accepted and they didn't feel any shame about whatever in the past that they did, whether it was them as a human or how they feel about themselves as a demon, then they wouldn't cause any problems. That's just my theory. And it assumes a lot of things, first of all. It assumes all the demons come from humans who were ashamed. And it assumes that demons don't have innate want to just take souls. That's not explored, unfortunately, even though the movie makes it a point to sympathize with two demons. Yeah, that's all my thoughts, though. It was a fun movie. I'm glad it exists. Yeah, that's all.